desperately want my children, and one day, God willing, my grandchildren and their descendants, to have the option of living peacefully and productively in the United States of America. I am certain this depends upon America regaining its Christian-oriented moral compass. The second reason is that I am appalled by the great injustice being perpetrated by those Jewish organizations that engage in anti-Christian bigotry. Although many of them were founded explicitly to fight bigotry, and for many years did just that, today the shrill rhetoric and hate-filled propaganda found in their direct mail is discriminatory and divisive. The very same Jewish organizations would be the loudest protesters were anything even remotely similar being said by non-Jews about Jews. Justice demands that a member of the group doing the defaming also does the defending. Third, I wish to counter the Chilul Hashem, the desecration of God's name that is caused when His words are misrepresented. Organizations and individuals, many of whom claim to speak in the name of Judaism, are inflicting enormous harm on America by promoting policies that traditional Judaism finds abhorrent. I want to help both Jewish and non-Jewish Americans differentiate between Jewish positions and positions held by some Jews who are more devoted to secularism than to Judaism. I feel that all Americans who love freedom, whether or not they are religious, should welcome the reawakening of earnest Christianity throughout the land. I shall try to establish that Jews, as well as other minorities, have the most to fear from a post-Christian America. I believe America is in decline. Most Americans who can remember back 35 years or so sense that life has become more squalid, expensive, and dangerous. Some attribute this to inadequate government attention to social problems, while others lay the blame at the feet of a more fundamental spiritual malaise. One thing is clear, however. Fewer and fewer Americans remain unaware of or indifferent to America's decline. Whether it is in the hollow expressions on the faces of some youngsters, the vulgarity of entertainment, or the many other little signs that all is not well in America, most of us are at least concerned about the future. There is a tug of war going on for the future of our country. Many Americans feel uncommitted to the entire agenda of either side, but feel the need to make their voices heard, one way or the other. What do the two ends of the rope represent? I believe the basic question is whether America is a secular or a religious nation. One end of the rope is anchored by those who ask, how can any intelligent, rational person late in the 20th century view America as a religious nation? While lacking a doctrinal embrace of secularism, these Americans have come to feel that religious America poses the real threat to our continuity, so they instinctively migrate to the end of the rope opposite from religious conservatives. Across the field, at the other end of the rope, are those Americans who feel increasingly alienated by this enlightened perspective, which denies the importance of America's history and culture. These religious conservatives are joined by many other Americans who, while admittedly unenthusiastic about religion, are even less enthusiastic about the changes that secular liberalism has brought about in their towns and communities. In the pages following, I will argue that America is a religious nation, and the corresponding interpretation of our history and culture is the correct one. But I shall go much further than that. America is not just religious, but is rooted in one particular religious tradition. As an Orthodox rabbi, I will make a compelling case for America as a Christian nation that needs to be based on Judeo-Christian ethics in order to survive. Despite the fact that Judaism and Christianity have totally differing theologies, there is still one Judeo-Christian ethic, which is to say that how people order their lives and societies, how they organize their families and behave toward one another, turns out to be more similar than different. The origins, legal system, ethos, and moral sense of America are entirely